Welcome to my guide on Eivor, Daughter, one of the new Assassin's Creed characters coming with this big collab. I'm going to be making a guide on all the new Assassin's Creed heroes coming to the game, but we're kicking things off with Eivor because her banner is coming very soon, and honestly, she is absolutely one of my favorites. She is a very strong, very unique kit that is highlighted by tremendous base stats. She's got really high base attack, really high base HP. She can hit really quickly. She has this ramp up mechanic through her Bestial Fury passive, and she has very good damage with extremely reliable offensive dispel. So that's where she can strip buffs off of enemies. In this video, let's not bury the lead. I'm going to show you a Gear Dungeon 3 Stage 13 clearance with Eivor at A0. Now, does she do even better at A1 or even A3? Sure. But I set out to find a run where I could showcase her helping us clear Gear Dungeon 3 Stage 13, one of the hardest pieces of content in the game, with her at literally A0. 0 awakenings, and we did get it done. If you appreciate this guide and the showcase you're about to see, please give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I was literally working on this from 11 p.m. last night until nearly 4 a.m. But it was worth it because Eivor is insanely cool. She may be my favorite of the assassins. I might say that for each one because they're all so cool, but she's kind of a blast to play with. So without further ado, let's get into it. I will show you this run, and if we have time, I'll even show a bonus preview of her in the top right. What I'm going to use her for in this guide is featuring her in this bottom middle area, where she is going to be our solo dispeller. So she is basically going to replace Gretchen at A0. It's kind of unbelievable. I'll talk you through substitutions for the other unit you can use next to her, but then at the end, I do want to showcase her abilities at basically doing the Kagiri role on the top right. From a lot of the testing I've done so far, it takes a tremendous amount for her to clear the top right, like a truly tremendous amount of gear, awakenings, and just perfection in the build. But I do think someone's going to unlock her for the top right. Will that be me? Will that be someone else? Stay tuned. I'm going to try to get her at least A3 on my account since I have so many summons saved up. So definitely look out for that this weekend. But without further ado, in this guide, in the main run, she's mostly going to be a superstar down here in the middle. I think it will really impress you guys. So here we go. Let's look at the kit. Let's try to go quickly, but let's also try to make sure we don't miss any of the nuance. I do want to start with the base stats because they are very, very good. She's in the upper echelon of fighters in this game when it comes to excellent base stats. So if we look here, her base attack is going to be 6,376. So with good gear, you absolutely can get her attack over 30,000 like I have with the build she's in right now. Her HP is approaching 30,000. She's at 28,349 hit points. Very, very good. So even fully neglecting HP in this build, I got her over 42,000. Her defense is actually very solid too. The magic resistance is low, but that's typical of physical DPS fighters. She's pretty cheap. She's 17 costs. That's the same as like Kagiri. So she's a little cheaper than your average 18 cost fighter or even the more expensive ones, obviously. She has 2 block. She's got her 55-second redeployment times since she is dual faction in the Northerners. And then very importantly, she has a 2.6-second base attack interval. That is key because through this passive over here, Bestial Fury, she can keep reducing that attack interval. So it's already starting at the lower end of the base attack intervals we see on fighters, and then we can chop that down further and further and further. Let's start with the talent. First things first, she is immune to stun. That's already going to be a little relevant in a couple niche places, but I do anticipate this could be a lot more relevant in future things because they're putting it right at the front of the talent. I'm assuming there might be like heavy stun content coming, and she's going to be great for dealing with it. Then we've got this effect. Upon killing an enemy target, she gains 1 stack of blood bounty. So this is a great opportunity to talk about Blood Bounty. She has a couple key mechanics in her kit. She's got Blood Bounty, she's got Axe Tempest, and of course she's got Bestial Fury, like we showed over here. But let's start with Blood Bounty because this is the most important thing to understand in her kit. You can stack Blood Bounty up to 5 times, and actually you see these stacks appear above her in battle as these little axes, these little throwing axes like the one she's holding that get filled in. So you'll see the Blood Bounty stacks filling up, and they do stack up to 5 times. When the ultimate is not activated, after she has a full 5 stacks of Blood Bounty, every single additional stack she would gain will give her 8% max rage. This is another really special thing in her kit. She ult cycles really effectively, especially in content where there are things to hit constantly. And like you're going to see, that will be the case in that bottom row in Gear Dungeon 3. In content like that, she can just keep stacking back up, keep giving herself more rage, and the ult comes back really, really, really quickly. I actually run her on full auto in that bottom lane. Her and Kanan, who I'm using as the chief DPS for that bottom lane, because I'm using her more as a dispeller for this strategy at A0, though she can deal a ton of damage, they are both going to have their ults on autocast the whole battle, which is really nice. It makes it a little more mindless on the bottom since that right side is so difficult to deal with. So she's really awesome in that respect. On top of that, when she activates the ultimate, each stack will increase her final damage during the ultimate by 8%. So typically you want to ult with her when she has all 5 axes above her head filled in. She has a full 5 stacks of blood bounty, and then she is going to boost her damage during the ultimate by 40%, which is tremendous. So now that we understand blood bounty, at least pretty well, you can see this is pretty nice. When she kills an enemy, she gets 1 guaranteed stack of blood bounty. You can see now with the next part of the talent, whenever she does gain blood bounty, so you can see there's another reason you want to gain blood bounty as quickly as possible. Whenever she gains blood bounty, she has a 20% chance to grant a shield equal to 20% of her attack to her and all adjacent allies for 10 seconds. So that's a little nice support she brings to the team. The shield she gives to herself actually is twice as strong, so it's equal to 40% of her attack. The next part of the talent. Funny enough, this talent is like 5 different things. For the next chapter in this talent, during the ultimate, she will immediately consume 2 stacks of blood bounty at the beginning. So if you're ulting when she has a full 5 stacks, it will drop down to 3 stacks. By consuming those 2 stacks at the beginning, she puts out a guaranteed extra instance of Axe Tempest, which is one of her passives and one of her special abilities. This specific way of casting Axe Tempest, though, does allow her to place a 5-second, 20% physical damage vulnerability. So she's going to put out a debuff that increases the physical damage the target takes by 20% for 5 seconds. Axe Tempest doesn't always do this. It only does this when it's cast through triggering her ultimate and consuming the 2 stacks of blood bounty. This Axe Tempest, though, cannot dispel the target's buffs. You can only do that through this Axe Tempest, the normal way she triggers it from the passive over here. So let's actually pick it up with this second passive now, since I've already pulled it up. And I do want to point out something cool. I don't know if they added this very recently or just now on the test server, but, and by the way, I'm on the Fastidious test server. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Moonton, for letting me use this. You can see they are tagging this damage as basic attack damage. So this is really nice for figuring out which heroes benefit from basic attack boosting sets, like Infernal Roar, for example. So they are tagging this passive damage, even though it's from a passive, as basic attack damage. But let's continue. Every 20 seconds, her next basic attack will throw an axe at targets within the ultimate range instead. And this is her ultimate range. It's this nice big range. It's kind of like Vortex range. I will say one kind of funky issue with her kit, and I have reported this to the devs, and I know multiple other CCs have as well, and multiple other testers. Her basic attack range makes no sense. It is 2 tiles by 3 tiles. It's this kind of chunky, chody basic attack range. It is not what we want to see. If they even just gave her 1 more tile in the middle here, it would be fantastic, because then you could put her behind a tank. You're going to see she can handle this middle bottom row in the content we're doing pretty well, even at A0. But if she had that 1 extra tile, we could put her behind Draylin or whatever shield tank you would use, and it would be a much smoother run. So it just makes no sense. They should give her the same range as Kanan. This is Kanan's basic attack range with that 1 extra tile. That should be her basic attack range, full frickin' stop. But let's continue. Every 20 seconds, the next basic attack will throw an axe at target within the ultimate range instead. So this big vortex kind of range, hollow kind of range. This range is really nice for the ultimate. And then you will see the axe can bounce 2 times. So now she has like a multi-target mechanic built into her kit. These hits will all deal 270% damage and dispel 1 buff from the targets that she hits. So there is that offensive dispel. There is that buff strip. When there are no ground enemies within the basic attack range, this tiny, chunky range, when there are no ground enemies in that range, all of a sudden the cooldown on this skill happens twice as quickly. So it's going to be 10 seconds if there's no one there for the whole time, or otherwise you're picking up 2 seconds every 1 second. I hope that makes sense. Very nice. It actually does work out really nicely for this content because there are lulls. So basically every time new enemies are coming, she has an Axe Tempest that she's ready to throw, and she kind of insta-strips them. The Axe prioritizes enemies with lower max HP, and its damage multiplier against enemies with HP under 50% is increased by a third. You get a 33% damage increase. Let's go to that basic attack now with that awful range. You can see pretty simple, single target damage. She deals 120% normal physical damage to one enemy. If we go to the ultimate, we do get this bigger range, and the ultimate itself is actually kind of simple. It's quite cheap at only 700 costs. And remember, once you get that blood bounty going, you can get rage back even quicker, which is really, really nice. And she's putting out basic attacks even quicker, which is really, really nice. And then during the ultimate, for 20 seconds, she gets the bigger range, and all attacks ignore 60% of the target's defense, and she restores 6% max HP when her basic attacks deal damage. This is pretty significant because she's got pretty tanky base stats. She can be a nice self-healer kind of unit. I think this is why they thought she only needed width on her range and not length. I do think that was a mistake. And by the way, I have submitted a formal suggestion and complaint about this range. I'm crossing my fingers and holding out hope in the next 2 days before her banner they will actually make this change and they will fix that basic attack range. But on the ultimate, quickly, let's not sleep on the fact that all attacks as a baseline are ignoring 60% of the target's defense. That is a ton of shred. This ult range, though, is a little inaccurate. They're listing this as the ult range. So during this 20-second period, while we're ignoring defense and restoring max HP, we're hitting in this giant range with Eivor. That's just not true. I'm going to show you a quick example now. The big showcases are coming in a second, but I want to just demonstrate how this is not working as described. Effectively, it is only the Axe Tempest range. You can see this passive says that she can throw an axe at targets within the ult range, but no. The only time you're actually using this range and taking advantage of this range is through this passive. The actual ultimate is not putting out any normal hits while it's active in that range. The normal hits remain in this awful range. So let me show you that really quickly. A little taste of what's coming, but I just wanted to really highlight this. So it's pretty easy to demonstrate. We're going to place Eivor here and Kanan here and throw this on 2x. I'll slow it down once the enemies come. We'll get Draylin placed here. It's important we place Draylin there, both for the strategy you're going to see showcased in this video, and so this is not in the normal range of Eivor. They're showing the big range now, the passive range, what they say is the ultimate range. But remember, Eivor's actual range is this tile, this tile, this tile, the tile Draylin's on, the tile Kanan's on, and her tile. So let's throw us on 1x. In theory, this is her ult range. So once I ult, she should be doing these souped up basic attacks, ignoring defense, restoring max HP in this range. But she throws the axe in that range. But now if I ult with her, she does nothing. She just stands there. She's not actually getting this range. She's only going to do something, you'll see, when she triggers her passive and throws the axes. That's the only time. Look, she's just standing there. No hits. And there, at the end, right when the blast came, she threw an axe. And that's it. So I did want to give a quick demonstration of this. I do love her kit. I think she's a near excellent and fully complete character. She's still super viable, but this range issue with both the basic attack range making no sense and the ult range not functioning as described, that definitely does need work. Let's finish off with that first passive now. Since we already did the second passive with Axe Tempest, we've got Bestial Fury. And this one is very clutch, and it's really important to understand because it ties directly into some of her awakenings. Each basic attack is going to reduce the subsequent basic attack interval by 2%, and it's going to provide 2% damage reduction. So all incoming damage will be reduced by 2% per stack, and the basic attack interval will be reduced in terms of its timing by 2% per stack. And this does stack up to 12 times. Every basic attack is going to allow her to do this, and all these stacks last for 10 seconds. So as long as she has something to hit and do a basic attack against every 10 seconds or less, she'll keep refreshing these stacks. When this effect reaches full stacks, this is key. I told you there are more ways to gain blood bounty. She's also going to gain 1 extra stack of blood bounty every 2 basic attacks. So once you stack this up to 12 and you keep it refreshing and you're full, you're good to go. Every other basic attack is going to give another stack of blood bounty. This is pretty clutch because you can get to 5 stacks of blood bounty more quickly, and you can even exceed those 5 stacks, and you can start getting the extra opportunities to grant the shield, and of course, you can get the extra rage, so the ult comes back even faster. So she ult cycles really nicely, as you're going to see in this battle. Before I show you the build and before we head into battle, let's go through the awakenings. I do think her A1 is pretty dang strong, especially in content where you have things to hit all the time. This is going to be a direct buff to that Bestial Fury passive. You can see here, I'll pop open the Bestial Fury passive. Now, when she has a full 12 stacks of Bestial Fury, it is not every other basic attack that is going to give another stack of Blood Bounty. It is every single basic attack. So this Bestial Fury effect, this passive gets upgraded. When the passive reaches full stacks, the hero gains 1 stack of Blood Bounty for every single basic attack. And remember, by the time you're at full stacks, you are cutting the attack interval by minus 24%. So she's going really quickly, right? I've built her with a 1.3 second attack interval through the gear. So now she's going to be going like every 0.9 seconds with a basic attack. She's faster than a basic attack every second because of those 12 stacks of Bestial Fury. And every one of those subsequent basic attacks is giving an extra stack of Blood Bounty. That gets you to 5 stacks a lot more quickly. So the ult hits a lot harder. And then you exceed 5 stacks a lot more quickly. So the ult comes back even faster. Really, really, really nice. If we go to the A2, pretty simple, plus 300 base attack. She already has super high base attack, but we'll take another 300. If we go to the A3, they do introduce a little bit of RNG. This is a nice awakening, and it can boost her damage a good bit, but it's RNG. So every time she triggers Axe Tempest, and remember, she does that through her second passive and during her ultimate when she consumes the 2 stacks of Blood Bounty, every time she triggers the Axe Tempest, she has a 25% chance to simultaneously throw 2 axes instead of 1. This means more damage. If it's through the passive, it means more dispels. If it's through the ultimate, it means more vulnerability. That is nice, but it's a 1 in 4 chance. It's kind of random. During the ultimate, it does rise. So when you're consuming the 2 Blood Bounty stacks to do it, and then when you cast it again during the ultimate, because the ultimate's long enough, you'll cast it once, if not twice, that trigger chance for the double is increased to 40%. So nearly a coin flip, right? 40% of the time, she'll get the double. When it happens, you do notice the damage increases. Over a long battle, you'll definitely see the damage increase, but there is RNG here. The A4, pretty basic, plus 8% penetration, so she's ignoring another 8% defense. During the ultimate, she's already ignoring 60% of the defense, so now the baseline is 68%. And then at A5, during her ultimate, she restores an extra 5% max rage upon killing an enemy, up to 25% rage restored through this effect per ultimate. So every ultimate, up to 5 kills, she'll start with an extra 5% max rage when the ultimate ends per kill, up to 5 kills. So in content where she's getting loads of kills, like in this on the bottom lane, she is going to get a quarter of her rage bar back as a baseline when she finishes her ult. It is really nice. She already does ult cycle really quickly, but this is pretty cool. The A1 is pretty awesome. The A3 is definitely a nice RNG DPS boost, but as I'm going to show you, she's still really good, particularly for Dispel in this content at A0. Let's get into the build, and then let's kick off this showcase. She, by the way, is a dual faction member fighter. I don't think I explicitly said that. So she is from the Watchguard, one of the best factions in the game, and the Northerners, where she synergizes pretty nicely since she has chances to put out a decent chunk of shields. I will say another issue I have with her kit is this low chance to put out shields when she gains Blood Bounty. 1 in 5, 20%. I don't think that's that great. I wish it was 50%, a coin flip every time she gained Blood Bounty. I think that'd be pretty reliable. This doesn't feel that reliable. It's not nothing, but it's not that exciting. So she has dual faction membership with the Northerners and the Watchguard. I gave her a Watchguard ring, and I built her in some really nice Cataclysm gear. So you can see here we got a nice quad. You can see here we got a nice quad. You can see here we got a nice quad. Here, got a nice quad, big crit rate. So I got her to 103.5% crit rate through 4 pieces, which meant on this piece, I could ignore crit rate. And yes, this is like very good endgame gear. Gear Dungeon 3, Stage 13 is really hard endgame content. I will say you can get away with a lot worse of a build up through like Stage 11 easy. Heck, even through Stage 12, she can do really, really well. For 13, you will need kind of a gangbusters build. Here are the total stats again, if you want to pause and look. Pretty dang fast, and she'll get even faster from the Bestial Fury stacks. She'll reduce the attack interval even more. Just under 350% crit damage, and like I said, very high attack and solid HP, even though I didn't focus that stat at all. For the artifact, for this content, I am going to run her in a Lunacy Visor. This is going to give her 1 extra block. We do miss out on a damage boost for most content if you don't need extra block. Her exclusive is for sure her best in slot. If you don't need the extra block, this is for sure going to be her best in slot. It boosts her damage by 30%, which is great. And then most importantly, the signature effect is that she has another unique way to gain a stack of blood bounty. So she will automatically gain 1 stack of blood bounty every 15 seconds. And during the ultimate, the cooldown of that extra blood bounty getting added is reduced by another 5 seconds. So it's every 10 seconds. Her ult lasts 20 seconds. So you're getting 2 extra stacks of blood bounty during the ultimate. It's pretty darn clutch. So I'm not going to use it for this middle row, but if we do a little preview on the top right, I will switch her into that. And there you have it. She's definitely very good, so let me show and stop telling. Let's get into this run. Obviously, Power of Dominance is off. This is going to be the team. Here we go. I tried to figure something out where we did not need to use Dracula, and we could still keep it pretty consistent. As you can see, I'm going to have a mini showcase, mini preview of Cassandra, who will add some additional DPS on the top right. We will have a guide on Cassandra coming tomorrow, so definitely look forward to that. She's kind of a freak. But let's focus on everyone else right now. I am using a pretty similar strat to something I saw Z Chatty do over here in the recommended lineups. I don't know if he invented this strategy with Broke here, but in case he did, I want to give credit. Otherwise, if you know who invented it, let me know. Let me just show it on my Broke here. So if we go to the talent, you can see we can take advantage of the physical damage reduction and the magic damage reduction he lends to adjacent allies. If we get a quick ult off and have him freeze himself, he boosts these reductions from 10% to 30%, and you can even pick them up and they just remain there. Super clever. I did not know that was a thing. I saw Chatty using that lineup, and I was like, oh, let me try that out, and it absolutely worked. It makes our Kagiri a lot more tanky, our Mina a lot more tanky, and it tied the run together. Outside of that, I'm running Kanan on the bottom with our A0 Eivor. Yes, Kanan here is A4. No, he does not need to be A4. That's just the one I had built up. You could swap out Kanan with any really good physical DPS that has multi-target or AoE. Or if you want to go crazy with it, just use Gretchen and you'll have nonstop dispel from Gretchen and Eivor the whole battle. But you don't need that. And I'm trying to show you a run without Gretchen and without Dracula, right? No chaotic units needed. This is a lot more accessible. Yes, Cassandra's an ancient exclusive, but Cassandra could be swapped out for like a Wukong. She could be swapped out for an Ezio, a normal Ezio. He can do it, and you're all about to get him for free. But I wanted to show her off here. So you could take out Kanan and you could put in like Orin or Neja, something like that. You could put in maybe even Guan Yu if you had a really, really good build. But you just need some other big multi-target DPS or AoE DPS unit next to Eivor. If Eivor was A1 or certainly A3, she could be the top DPS. She could put up like 200 million plus damage. But here, there's only so much damage to go around on the bottom, and I'm focusing on making sure she's getting all the dispels, so she's going to be our secondary DPS. So she'll do a lot less damage than Kanan. If you want to see her just go Berserker mode, just wait till I get her A3 or higher on my account, and I'll show you. She can put up ridiculous damage on the bottom. As for the top right, we've got Kagiri, Mina, and Cassandra. We are using for shields Draylen on the bottom, and then Rivenhald on the top right. He's going to do healing and shields and a little bit of inspiration. We're going to do that little Brokir trick and use Leia to boost him up, and then Ireless is providing rage and healing for the bottom. Okay, here we go. Let's hop into the run and see how we can do. As you can see, Power of Dominance, of course, still is off. Let's head into battle. Let's go. And like I said, we're going to use auto-cast ults for the bottom for Kanan and Eivor the whole time, which is really nice. It's really convenient. This is a pretty similar strategy to how I beat it before. I just moved away from the chaotic units if you've seen my other guide with Kanan. All right, we'll place Kanan here and Eivor right above him. You can see the width is nice, but once we put Draylen in front of Kanan, she's only able to get in front with the ultimate. It's pretty frustrating. But she handles this lane and the people coming from the top super nicely. She does need that extra block, though, from the Lunacy Visor. I think if you had her A3 or higher, though, she'd be killing so fast she might not need the extra block, but I can't guarantee that. All right, let's get Draylen placed and throw this on 2x. I'm going to move myself up and make myself smaller and turn on the auto ults already. And you'll see as soon as they enter, she had an Axe Tempest ready, so she throws it, it bounces around, everyone's dispelled. Amazing. There's Ireless. Now we're going to ult with Draylen now to get some shields up. And now Kanan's ulting, and you'll see the damage will start coming in. And those two, I'm just going to have the auto-cast on for the whole battle, and they're just going to get the job done. We're getting ready to shield again. Boom. Goes on 1x. When I get to about 60 costs, that's when I'm going to do the little broke here strat to get some reductions. All right, so we're going to go Kagiri, Lady Mina. Then I'm going to get Broke here, who's in the Wings of Grace set on Kagiri for a little boost. I'm waiting for 16 cost. I'm going to go with Leia, and I do have her auto ult on, so she should start immediately. She's going to give enough extra rage to Broke here so he can get this ult off quickly. Once he's like over 90%, I'll pick up Leia. I'll place Cassandra here pointed in. And I'm going to ult with Broke here. And you can see, I can check the damage reductions. There you go, 30%. So now I'll pick up Broke here. And if we look at all these guys, they still have that 30% damage reduction. Very clutch. And as soon as I can, I'm going to place Rivenhald so he can get that ult coming around. And here we go. She's going to come at Kagiri. Ult with him. Let's ult with Draylen already. Now, as soon as we can, look, we got the strip with Kagiri. Ult with Rivenhald. Boom. And now we can go in with everyone else. I will wait till Cassandra's at 200%. Cassandra has a really unique way in which she builds her ults. She has this Spartan Resolve mechanic, and each stack of Spartan Resolve does a few things for her kit, but it also just gives her like 20% of her ult bar, because essentially one ult is 5 Spartan Resolve stacks, and a super ult is 10. So we're waiting till we have 200%, which is 10 Spartan Resolves. There she's ready. We'll unload with Cassandra. And we're kind of locked in. This first clear is not the smoothest, but we'll get it. Now, hopefully there's no bad Kagiri RNG or death or whatever. You can see on the bottom, these are the stacks of the blood bounty, by the way. You can see she just consumed some when she ulted. One problem with the auto ult is she's not always at 5 stacks until it gets a little crazier in the middle here, but it's still plenty. And you could always manually control it if you don't want to deal with that. All right, here we go. We got to get ready with more shields. Wait. All right, Draylen and Rivenhald. Nice. And good on the bottom. You can see she's handling her lane easily, and the dispels are constant, right? Like, she's really doing Gretchen's job. And if we had her like A1, A3, she'd be doing Gretchen damage too. She's actually doing loads of damage. It's just she's putting out single target, and Kanan is nonstop Ascendant form putting out multi-target. There you can see these stacks go up. We should get an Axe Tempest in a second here. Watch at the bottom for some dispels. Go with Draylen. Now we're gonna ult here with Rivenhald. I'll use this blood impact to trigger Kagiri. He actually just got it with his talent anyway. Boom. We'll go in with Lady Mina, Sandra. You can see we got those dispels on the bottom. With Cassandra again, so we can pick this one off. Fury. Nice. This is going to be the last big blast from the boss. Go here. Now we're going to wait with Rivenhald. Boom. Need a Kagiri talent trigger. Otherwise, this could get thrown off. There was actually a glitch there, and Kagiri was parrying, and the shield from Rivenhald didn't go on. It actually wasn't a parry glitch. I watched it back, and what happened was the shield went on like as he was getting hit, so it immediately popped off. Just unlucky timing. I'm going to fix that, so let's run it back, and you'll see how this ends. Let me restart this really quickly. We'll pick up right back here. Give me 1 second. All right, we can pick it up here. We just had the second to last big blast. We're going to get this kill on the top right in a second. And then actually a cool thing we can do is we only need Draylin now to shield for this last big blast, the mental impact. So after that, we can pick her up, and then we can even drop Leia a little bit after that for extra insurance on the top right. But you can see the challenge on this run right now is the top right, not the bottom, because Eivor is doing such a crazy job dispelling and then bringing supplemental damage while Kanan just shreds everybody. Let's get one more trigger with Cassandra here to finish it off. There we go. So we can get the ult with Draylin. Rivenhold here. Eerie. We can already pick up Draylin now. Load it up with Cassandra so we can get a pick off now. Leia. Boosting a little damage. You could tank this. It's good. That guy drops, and you can see on the bottom here, Eivor and Kanan are just taking care of business. Need a Kagiri trigger right now because he's going to attack at us. Boom. Get an Ember Strike. We can go with an ult with Cassandra now. See, it's going pretty good. The bottom, just keep an eye on the big numbers, keep an eye on the dispels. They keep coming down in duos and trios, and the dispels are just so easy. This whole period with Eivor, where she has no one in her attack range, she's getting the axe ready in 10 seconds at that clip, not at 20 seconds. As long as they're there, she's basically picking up 2 seconds per second. Let's go with Rivenhold. Nina. A little ult with Cassandra. Out. Three there. A little push with Leia. That guy drops. So we just have one more to take care of. Bottom is just easy. Actually, we can do a quick ult with Cassandra here, and then we just need Rivenhold to come back. Worst case, we can just stall with Broke here. There we go. Not too shabby. That is a 313 clear with an A0 Eivor. Obviously, it is technical. This took me hours to get all the timings right and stuff like that when I was prepping it last night. Absolutely, she's completely capable, but she doesn't single-handedly solve this. She solves one problem, but there's like 3 or 4 big problems in here. But you'll fix the timings for your account and you can make it work. It's pretty remarkable how easily she fills her role at even A0. And then she can only just start picking up more responsibility as she picks up more awakenings. So you can see here, she's coming in with about 58 million, 57.6 million damage. Like I said, Kanan is like the superstar damage on the bottom, but we can easily break past 200 million damage with Eivor. I can showcase that on my account when I pick her up once you have a couple awakenings into her. For that tap right, you could see Cassandra coming in with the snipes, Kagiri with the big damage, Lady Mina in between. Very, very, very nice stuff. If you want to quickly see what she looks like on the top right, give me 1 second. I'll move some things around. We can run my Kanan Neja strat on the bottom, which actually does work with A0 Kanan, but we'll just keep it with the A4 since we're focusing on the top right. And then we'll use an A3 Eivor that I have to show you how she performs on the top right. The damage is really good, but it does fall short a bit. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. I basically just took out Kagiri since Eivor is going to take his spot, and I put in Neja. So Neja and Kanan are going to do my like overload strat with just a million hits and a ton of damage on the bottom, so no dispel. And then Eivor will be bringing the dispel to the top right. Actually, here's the A0 version. Let's bring in the A3 version. It's going to fall short with both versions, but I want to show you her damage potential because the numbers are pretty big. Pretty dang big, and they only get bigger when you put her at the bottom with awakenings because there are more units to hit and she has more places for her axes to bounce around with the axe passive. So, okay, let's find the normal Eivor build. There we go. It's over. Oh, actually, now, excuse me, we're going to use her exclusive. We don't need the extra block, right? So we don't need that Lunacy Visor. And there we go. We're off to the races. Okay, they want me to sell one piece of gear. This is such a test server problem. Now we're off to the races. Here we go. Actually, we're still not off to the races because I just realized our new Neja is taking Eivor's old role for that spot, so he needs the Lunacy Visor. There we go. Now we are all set. Keep in mind, this is just a demonstration. Unless something miraculous happens, we are not going to get a clear here. Eivor will have surprisingly great damage in the top right, but it's not going to be like A5 Kagiri level. All right, so we got Neja in the old Eivor spot. We got Kanan here. We just got to do our little setup. Oop, wrong spot for Draylon. Love a fingy slip. I'll fast forward this part because this is the same kind of thing. We keep the auto ults on. I'll wait till we're closer to like the 60 cost after the 2 big blasts when it's time to actually place our top right units, since that's the showcase now. All right, here's the second big blast. Get the shields up. Throw some on 1x. Wait till we have about 60. Eivor, Mina, Wings of Grace from Broke here and get him placed. Wait till we have 16 cost. Leia, ult with her. And remember, with Eivor here, she has no one in range. She's already loading up that Axe Tempest, so she's going to be ready to dispel as soon as this guy enters that range. And I will remind you, it is annoying with this range because they're calling this like her ult range, but effectively, this is not her ult range. This is like her passive range, and that's something I hope the devs do change. I hope this actually becomes her ult range for putting out normal hits as well, because that's how it's written. Unless that was a mistake how they were. See. Pick up Leia, get Cassandra placed, and ult with Broke here. Up Broke here. Here you'll see as soon as the clone enters, we're good. Raylan here. And now we want to line everyone up with Rivenhold. Boom. Off to the races. Get some big damage. This first one, we're not loaded up with the 5 axes. The other ones we will be. We get another axe throw here. There we go. Another dispel. See how quick, look how quickly that ult comes back around. It's kind of insane. There we go. Not bad. See, obviously it's not Kagiri damage. Pick off there with Cassandra. All right, that first one's good. So now we'll be loaded up for the next. We'll actually have the full 5 hammers. We'll get the 40% damage boost. You can see, like, the idea is there, but she could totally do it if we had someone else bringing, like, huge damage. Maybe, like, a High Awakening Cassandra, something like that. Maybe, I haven't tested out, I only did an A1 Ezio in my testing. Maybe a really High Awakening Ezio. Maybe Dark Ezio. Like, if we had someone else coming in that brought huge damage in this Cassandra spot or Mina spot, instead of just great damage, she can hold the lane and do a great job with the dispel and everything, you know? Got the vulnerabilities out there. I'm gonna wait till we have 100 from Cassandra. Max. You can see already we're doing good, but it's just, is it good enough, you know? That's kind of the problem. So we're like a little behind on the damage here. She does get the dispels up a little more frequently than Kagiri, but we're not going to get this kill in time, I don't think. Cassandra trigger right as the shield comes back up. We can't manually trigger it either. Definitely worth mentioning. We will get the double dispel, which is nice. I'm going to wait for Rivenhold here for the inspiration. You can see, like, we're making it over halfway through the battle, but it's just not, like, the whole thing. Doing better than I expected. We can get a pick off there, and also already pick up Draylin. Get a little extra from Leia to help out. We are doing better than I thought. We're doing really good, actually. This would be remarkable. All right, we need a dispel before I can go again. It is annoying that you can't manually control it in any way. Cassandra just went on auto ult there. Now she's just fully loaded. Okay, cool. Rivenhold. We're loaded up. I mean, this is the best attempt I've had with her on the top right, which is pretty cool. These guys are not doing as well as Eivor, so that's actually ruining the run. Pick up here. We can't save it quickly with Broke here. We'll let those guys go through. Let's just see how we can do in the top right. All right, it is falling apart. I got a little excited picking up Draylin there. Eivor does die at the end, but that actually was a really valiant attempt. I'm glad I decided to film it and include it. You'll see her damage is really nice. That trio does work, but we are like just short. You know, if I'd left Draylin down, she doesn't need Leia to pick her up. I just figured why not, but without the dispels, we couldn't do it. But look at that damage. I mean, look at 85 million, basically. Well ahead of Lady Mina and Cassandra. When she gets to her 5 axes, she absolutely unloads, and the A3 is really strong. So, yeah, I think maybe if we had like an A3 Cassandra, we could do it. I might have to test that out on the test server as well. But there you go, guys. Eivor is pretty awesome, and she's nearly like perfect for what she should be. There's 2 little tweaks I would like to see happen. By the way, obviously, Power of Dominance is off. I really, really want to see them change the range to match Kanan's range. Those kind of fat tiles make no sense. I just think this basic attack range makes no sense. And I want to see the ult range actually be the ult range, because they're saying this is the range of the ultimate, but effectively that's only the range that the Axe Tempest is thrown within. The Axe Tempest is thrown within the ultimate range, making this the passive range, the Axe Tempest range, not the ultimate range. You guys saw that little demo at the beginning. So there you have it. I've been Fastidious. Thank you so much for watching. This was one of the most high effort videos I've filmed in a long time. So especially if you made it to the end, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. I am not exaggerating when I say I've probably put 8 to 9 hours into this video. So there you have it. Sometimes my tests come later than others, but I do think they're about as thorough as you're going to get. So thank you, share it with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
Fastidious.